So joining me now is very, very special metal giants from Sweden. It is Olof and Elize from Amaranthe. How are you doing?
Hi there. Very good. Nice
Hi.
to join you.
So can you just give us the backstory of Amaranthe? So how it formed all the way to the present day?
Well,
Of course.
yeah, sure. Me, you.
Oh, gotcha.
Me and Elise, we became friends in 2005, and I realized very quickly that Elise was an amazing creative person, and hopefully she realized, the opposite. And shortly thereafter, we actually started to work a little bit on her own personal songs, which were actually not metal at all, but still very somber, sort of depressive. And I was helping Elise out to apply for Nightwish actually back in 2006 when Tarja quit. And we were saying at a fateful moment that, okay, if she doesn't get the job, and she placed really highly actually,
Yep.
then we will start a band together. And at the same time, I was also, good friends with Morten, and, we were hanging out with a lot of people who were into music at the time. So it was kind of a natural thing to start to try out to do music together. I think when we posted the songs in 2008 on MySpace, it became obvious that this should really be, 100% a band, because people were very excited about it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how it happened. I mean, we were alone very happy about the songs, but little we knew that it would gain so much interest even through MySpace when we didn't even have a band. So that basically it's this band has always been about the fans, I think, and it's basically was created also by the fans to begin with, because if they wouldn't have shown interest in us and our music, we would never have started this band.
We would have just written music for ourselves instead.
Exactly, yeah. And funny enough, the third person in this project, who was planned to begin with, being producer, or what I say, arranger, or was a guy who is very good friends with Olof, whose name is Elize. And he then was invited to arrange the piano for our first ballad called Amaranthe.
Yeah, he also plays keyboards in my other band called Dragonland. So, old compadre of mine.
So it was the three of us, but then it started to take form. Like, we were asked to, write a full album after we then got the offers from different labels and stuff to sign with them. And that process took, I think, 2 years at that time.
Something like that.
We all had regular jobs. Well, I was a cabaret artist. Olof was
guitar teacher.
Guitar teacher, yeah. And so we had to kind of, gather together on our free time and finish up this album basically. And at one point I was living in an apartment that got renovated, so I couldn't sleep at night. Well, I had a night job. I came back home at 3 or so in the morning, and they started work at 6. So I was basically starting to freak out, and I said I can't stay here. You have to, fix this. So I moved into a hotel for a few months, and then I remember me and Olof was meeting there, writing songs. Like, for example, Aromatic was written in that hotel I stayed in, only with the little laptop. And that leads us into where we released the first album, right? And that was 2011. And that du kan fortsätta nu, eller?
Yeah, and it automatically led to a lot of touring. We started to tour very heavily already with the release of the first album. So ever since then, until the Corona crisis hit, so this is fast forward 10 years later, we're sitting here doing interviews. It's the first break that we had in these 10 years. So that kind of consolidates those first 10 years. We only had small breaks of a few weeks here and there.
It's very interesting because I also, after like everything happened through this MySpace, I have to say like thank you MySpace. Without MySpace, we don't know what would have happened. But anyways, I was also found by the guitarist in Camelot, or the former of Camelot, Thomas Youngblood. He heard our first songs that we put up, and he asked me if I wanted to go on tour with them. So my first world tour I did already before touring with Amaranth back in 2010. Which also for me personally, gave a hint of where we could go if we worked hard enough with our own band. And also Olaf talked about Japan. He was there with Dragonland, so he got the little taste, of how it's like there. Because I obviously toured Europe, South America, and the United States with Camelot back in the days. But Olaf had this S in his arm.
Ace up the sleeve.
The ace up the sleeve with the Japan, and I said, "Oh my God, I want to go to Japan." It's like, I said, "What should we do? Like, we just have to make sure we write good music, and we will, for sure go there." And like he said, so even if we didn't start to tour very heavily with Amaranth to begin with, we got a few gigs here and there, but I was doing a very hard job, promoting the band while being on tour with Camelot. And I was thinking like I need to be good so that people want to hear more from us. So I was like I always like conscious about the situation, like where we wanted to go with this band, or in general as an artist. I mean, if the band wouldn't have been up the wall, I would probably try to make another band or a solo career. But it was so interesting to also meet the fans in real life, like I did with Camelot. I get the very like luxurious opportunity to see like all the people out there, and it gave even more inspiration to like create this kind of music where I feel like I want to see these people again. I love these kind of people. We're the same. We're so similar in every way, and we first real tour we did with the band with Amaranth was also thanks to Camelot, because they invited us to open for them. First tour with it was like only 3 or 4 shows, I think, in
2010
Scandinavia.
Also.
2010 already. Yeah, that was like among the first shows. And then basically because it made sense, like not only musically but also practically, that we were the support band for Camelot on the tour, so I did basically double jobs. First opening up, then singing with them, and then already there I think we had a very great start, which people have asked about many times, like how come you could gain so much knowledge from, or it went kind of fast if you compare to a lot of other bands that struggle. They need to try to get gigs, but it's really hard to like get these really good support acts, and because there is so many, it's a lot of concurrence. And it's important to tour, especially for a new band. And well, which leads to this situation where we're not allowed to tour anymore, and that's really so I also wonder how it's like for new bands. But I mean, for us, it's we're so happy that we are here now, because if this would have been 10 years ago, I don't know, maybe that would have been the end of Amaranth, if you know what I mean. Before it even started, because we wouldn't have the chance to go anywhere. So it's weird.
So was the plan always to have 3 lead vocalists?
No, not really. I think it was more of a consequence of hanging out together and trying out the different things, because just like we mentioned, it wasn't really a band to begin with. It was just a bunch of friends or a bunch of people hanging out together and trying out musical ideas, and there was a lot of chemistry between the different sides, musical aspects of things, and it really glued well together. So, and just like we mentioned before, with the reactions from the MySpace crowd, because obviously this was something very untested and untried with this 3-singer vocal thing. And I think at some point we were even considering, maybe we should just invite this and that person. But as soon as we put the music up on MySpace, it got consolidated that, okay, this is the band that we should go for. And it's going to be really interesting to try this out, the 3 vocal thing on the stage and everything.
I can say like this though, like just to add, if we would have had a friend in Gothenburg who could sing very well clean vocals and growl very good, we would only have been 2 members.
For example.
I mean, two members on vocals. I mean,
Yeah.
So in this sense, it is a coincidence because obviously, not everybody can do both things. I mean, also I'm responsible for that because I cannot growl. Otherwise, I would have loved to do that. I'm just kidding. No, but so that if you want to growl, yes, then we had to ask around for somebody who could do growls, and we did found. I mean, my brother, for example, was a very good growler, and so we would probably have asked him as well if he would still be alive because he passed away around the time.
So your last album, Helix, was, I think, one of the bigger albums of your career. It really. So how did you find that reception from the Helix album cycle?
I think that Manifest is definitely built upon the foundation of Helix, because we did a lot of experimentation on the 3rd and the 4th album. I mean, we did a lot of it, definitely, to see what was actually possible, within the boundaries of our style and with this band in general. And I think that on the Helix album, we were trying to consolidate all the best ideas of all the experimentation that we had done. And of course, we will always continue to develop and continue to experiment. But I think with Helix, it was a little bit more evident in what direction we wanted to go. So I think that Manifest is taking, that idea and that statement, basically, that this is our style to the absolute next level, while also introducing a lot of new elements as well. So it's a very natural progression from Helix, but at the same time, it introduces a lot of surprises, I think.
So before we get on to the new album, you're a band that don't normally do cover songs, but earlier in the year you released a cover song of fellow metal giant Sabaton's 80 Second All the Way. How much fun was it to do that cover?
It was extremely fun.
As you can see in the video.
Yeah, it was so much fun. It's also very interesting for me. I was extremely excited because I know we have very strong elements in Amaranth that is very hard if we would use them to not make it sound like Amaranth. And then on the other hand, we were not 100% convinced that it, with this kind of vocal melodies and the chorus, etc., that it would be close to our own
style or sound,
like if we would have been writing the song. I mean, of course, the lyrics is something I personally would not even think about writing. So it was extremely fun to sing about this and like use these kind of words in a with my voice. I was like, this it's so far away from Joachim that you can imagine, but I think in the end it turned out so great. And it's very exciting to try new things, and it's the first time we do that. So well, after the Powerwolf cover, but yeah, and we had a few tracks to choose from. Per sent us a few choices, and I immediately said 80 Second All the Way is definitely the song that will fit us best, because we're up tempo, and I like the song in general, and it turned out to be one of their most popular songs as well. So it was a good choice, I think. And musically.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, baby.
No, carry on.
No, please go on.
Okay.
So the new album, Manifest, is this the album that you recorded while in lockdown?
Yeah, exactly. As some have already read, as the metal media was reporting a little bit at the time, we only found out we were supposed to travel down to Denmark on a Sunday. This was in the middle of March, and on the Friday we were still sitting and working on the last pieces of the songs. And Morten, who's from Denmark, told us that evening at 11 o'clock in the evening that tomorrow the board is going to shut down at noon. So we started to look at trains. Okay, is it possible to get there, because it's a little bit far? So we had to get on a train at 6:30 in the morning, pack everything for the 2.5 months that we're going to be away, all the studio equipment for the songwriting process, all the demo stuff basically had to be packed, and then we had to take the chance because obviously they said that they were going to close at 12, but you don't know that they will block people from entering already,
Yeah.
you know, from the morning. So that was kind of stressful, but at the same time, it was extremely fortunate for us. I mean, if the whole crisis would have hit 2 weeks earlier, then we would have had to start to possibly look for new studios for 2.5 months, and maybe we wouldn't even wanted to have done that because perhaps we really wanted to work with Jacob instead.
Yeah.
So maybe the entire album would have had to be delayed for quite a bit. So, and we also got to finish, you know, the Sabaton tour that we did early in January. So the first time it affected us with the Corona situation was only with summer festivals getting canceled, and then later on the US and the European tour. But yeah, so we were one of the lucky ones, I think.
So obviously the lead single off the album, Viral, is that about the current situation?
Yes, absolutely. It's funny enough because we wanted to write a song about social media, like how we see people, you know, handling personal issues on social media, etc. Or using that as a tool, like through social media, and how it can be very, very positive, but also like with everything that you use, you can also abuse. And some people seemed to have a negative effect on some people as well, that they feel like competitive, or that they feel sad if they don't get enough likes and stuff like this, you know. And we wanted to show them that we are as well just people, and this could happen to us also. So we need to, like, you know, we want to just basically touch the subject that there's no difference, and we can go up and everything can be great, and like we can go viral, etc., etc. But we can also, you know, lose everything if we would make, for example, a very big mistake that the whole world could see. So it's like a kind of dangerous to build your whole appearance up on this tool. So it's both very good and sometimes it could be bad. But anyways, so we had this concept already clear, and Olof came up with the title Viral already many months before, and we just wanted to like find the right music for this subject. And then Olof did the riffs, and we finished the song in the studio. So we took up the concept again, and we're like, wow, but wait, this is basically what it is now, like how people is handling crisis through social media.
Exactly. So it was too good of an opportunity to pass up on. Let's say that you already had a song title called Viral even before the Corona crisis hit, and a little bit prophetic, if you will.
So, and also, I think this is going to be the next single, Strong, which is featuring Nura from Battle Beast.
Yes.
How was working with her to you?
Well, this is also, yeah, it was also extremely fun because, I mean, naturally I would have wanted her in the studio with me, you know. But because of the current situation, it was much more complicated to bring her into Denmark. So we had to do it digitally. So she recorded her parts back home in Finland, and she sent us the tracks. But I mean, I love her voice. I love her like approach, and in general, her character and such. So I thought, for me to choose like a female partner to sing with, it was very nice to get the opportunity to choose Nora. And it was also, of course, very much based on that we would go on a US tour together. So I would have a duet partner. I could actually perform the song with live later on. Well, that plan didn't work out, but yeah, she did great. I mean, I have a very special melody language, so we did a few back and forth, and I really wanted her to follow the melody, and then she added some ad libs in the end, which I loved, and you know, so it was still like very creative, and we were talking about the lyrics, and I wanted her to feel something for that lyric as well, so she wouldn't just sing, you know. I don't want to work with somebody who just like a job, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I was talking to her a lot, and she was like, no, but this is great. She loved it so much. It gave me goosebumps. She called me the first time. She was so happy and excited, and she's like, yeah, but this, I can totally feel this. I feel it. And like, I understand. And then we started to talk about concept for the video. I said, like, what about this? And I came up I don't know, I got these visions in my head and I presented them to her and she was totally in. So everything worked fine. We didn't discuss anything. We just like were super excited. So has been very good.
So when is the album out?
October 2nd.
And obviously, I can't see any concerts happening this year. So is there a plan to do a UK tour next year?
Actually, the tour that was scheduled to begin late this fall in November, it's probably going to happen in the spring of next year instead. But obviously, it's a little bit unpredictable how the situation will develop, in the coming half a year or so. But we've heard some rumors and seen some attempts of gigs trying to be performed in different ways, and we're not 100% certain that this whole social distancing kind of concerts would be our thing at the end of the day, because we really want the audience interaction. We really want them to be as passionate as we are, and as crazy in the audience as we are on the stage. But if that's the only option, I mean, we just have to wait and see what it's going to look like.
Yeah. So Olof, Elize, thanks for taking the time out to have a chat with us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
So nice. It was really nice to see you, I have to say.
Yeah, the pleasure is entirely ours.
It's like almost like meeting you in real life.
Yes.
Exactly. So thank you for the time also.
No worries.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you. Right, so the interviews. So this shout out is for a good friend of mine called Emily. And
Emily?
Yeah. So if you
we just say like Emily, is it you? We heard so many great things about you, and thank you so much for listening to us. This is Elize, and this is
Olof, and we are
Amaranthe, and we look forward to see you when we are allowed to get out of this isolation.
Cheers.
Take care of yourself. We love you. Woo! Emily, 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 Emily.